So, you have joined a work league, NFL Fantasy Football League. What do I do now? First thing you're going to want to do is make an account. In this case, we're going to go through the ESPN Fantasy app. I'm on a web browser. We're going to do a draft. I like drafting on the computer better than on the mobile device. It just seems easier for me to manage. So, first thing you're going to want to do is go to espn.com/fantasy. Once you're there, you can see all the different sports up here and, the website, whatever. So if you come over here to your, picture, you can come down here to log in. I'm already logged in, so it'll say, it says log out. But go in there, log in, make your account if you don't already have one. Using whatever email address that you plan on using to sign up. Likely, if you've never done this before, you might have already submitted your email address. Use that one. Once you log in, there should be an email that you've got to that email that asks you to join. Might give you a link, an invite code or a link, or your commissioner might have sent you the link directly. To click on that, it should log you in. Once you do that, so let's see, I'm going to create a new league here to show you. I'm actually just going to join a public league. None of this matters to you. PPR or not. If it's PPR, that means that your receiver catching the ball will get a point. If it's not PPR, then they won't get that point. No matter what, they still get points for positive yardage, but it's the same. The default is the same. But depends on if they catch the ball or not, they get an extra point. Snake draft just means I'll show that to you when we get into the draft, but it basically just means that the first person gets a pick, and then we go in order, whatever the draft order is. The last person gets 2 picks, so they get we each get 1 pick in round 1, and then in round 2 we each get a single pick as well, but the order is reversed. So 1 through 10, 10 through 1, 1 through 10. So 10 and 1 get 2 picks in a row after the first round. And I'll show you what that means again, and probably put a fun little picture right here. Okay, so this is just a 10-team league, and my team, beastly team. So we got about 1:40 left. What you would probably do when your draft comes up, you'd probably be somewhere like this. You can click on this, your profile up here, and then, my beastly team is here. You click on that, and then it tells you the draft room is now open, and I can enter the draft room. So we'll go ahead and enter that draft room. Hopefully I tried to turn the volume down. Hopefully the sounds aren't too big. Oh, wow. So I'm going to be picked 2 overall, which is pretty nice. So again, we've got our countdown timer up here, and then the pick order. So I get second pick, and then at round 2 up here, it goes backwards. So this Dustin guy gets 2 picks in a row, and then Isaiah, whatever, these are just random people, gets the second pick of round 2, and then it goes on and on. And so I get the 9th pick of round 2, because that's how math works. So I got the second to last pick of round 2. So it kind of averages out, I get a longer time between first and second pick. These guys get shorter time between first and second pick, but they don't have as good of players to pick from as, say I do. So kind of averages out. Over here on the left, we've got all the positions: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex. Flex is a wide receiver, a running back, or a tight end. You basically get a free slot to pick any of those three players. You've got a defense and special teams, so that's a whole team, not just a player. And then you have a kicker, and then a bunch of bench spaces. Down here, we can only have 16 players, so we're going to have 16 rounds of drafting. I can at max pick up 4 quarterbacks, 8 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 3 kickers, 3 defense special teams. Now, if you do the math, that's more than 16. But basically, just I can draft as many of each of these players as I want up to that max. So you want to make sure that you get enough players to fill your roster and with a couple of backups. So you're probably not gonna really hit many of these, if any. I mean, it really depends on how you want to draft, but some people like to kind of double down on running backs or wide receivers, wait and see who does really well and try to trade them away for decent players. So you could always do something like that too. But basically, just kind of. I really hope that's still not that loud. I try to turn everything down. So over here on the right, we have got this picks. I'm second pick. So first pick was Jamar Chase. And so now I get to pick kind of whoever I want to. I've got a countdown timer over here. And in my rank, these are what the preseason rankings are. This is just a projected how well they're going to do. And I'm actually going to skip a couple of these because I'm just kind of thinking that Saquon Barkley is going to do really well. He did really, really well last year. So all I have to do to draft a player is click on this draft here. It'll show up over here that I drafted him as a running back. It gives us the bye week. And then down over here on the right side, the picks, it shows the pick that I chose. And then these other people are starting to pick as well. So in here, while we're waiting, since we've got a kind of a while until we get to our next pick, we can start looking at players and looking to see maybe what position we might want to try to play next, or pick up next. What players we might want to pick next, and then I might queue up a couple of players. So I've got a couple of wide receivers that are up here. I can filter by position. So if I go to quarterback, I can maybe see if I want to pick up Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. They both did really well last year. There's Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields. Tells you what team they're on, that kind of stuff. The bye week is here. That's important because you cannot play them when they're not playing. So every team has a bye week. Bye weeks start. That sound tells me that somebody picked up CD Lamb, which was in my queue over here. The queue can do a number of things. The big thing is it keeps track of the players that you're interested in, makes it easier for you to find them when you want to draft them. But if you turn auto pick on, you can, it'll pick from these and you can kind of move them around so that, if Josh Allen is available next, then it's going to pick him for me automatically. That's just what that means. So, but I like to, queue them up so that I just kind of keep track of who I was thinking about while I, continue thinking about who else I might want to draft later on and what position order, and, helps me not have to think about that while I'm thinking about everything else. And that's my cat, I'm sorry. So bye weeks here, projected fantasy points for the season. That's the tab we're in. So this is how they expect us to do. or the player to do. So they're expecting Josh Allen to get 365.6 points this season. Obviously, that number is not going to stick. This is just, guessing. You can tab over to what they did score last year. And you can filter by clicking on it. So he did the best out of all the quarterbacks last year. You can click by rank as well. You can actually even click on the player itself, and they're suggesting that he's the second best quarterback, position rank 2. You can see, he's going to be rostered. He's probably going to be the first quarterback anybody picks up. In fact, just for funsies, I will probably pick him up if he's still available on my second pick. Because I get another pick almost right after my first pick, since I'm, second overall. So I wait for somebody, wait for the first overall to pick twice, and then I get to pick. So I might just pick him up and a wide receiver at the same time. So kind of gives you the comparison here, how he did last year, how he's projected to do this year, and see how different it might be. A little bit of outlook as to why they think he's going to do as well or poorly as they think he's going to do. Come down here and gives you some more week. This is week 1 projection, so we can talk more about that after the draft is over. The last 5 games of the regular season last year, and how he did fantasy wise. Some recent news: some players might be injured or taking a break, or haven't reached a contract agreement yet, so they, you may or may not be able to actually play them because they may not actually sign with a team. Some weird things like that. So you might want to keep an eye on that. That noise meant that somebody picked up Puka Nacua, so I don't get to draft him either, and he was automatically removed out of my queue. So then just kind of some other things about that. So as you can see down here, like Jordan Love has a queue for questionable. If you click on him, he's supposed to return next week, so that's probably not a big deal. Come down here to news. Okay, he has a little thumb injury, wearing a soft cast, and probably will come back before the regular season, so it should be fine. So ideas to look at, some players might be, have a suspension from last season that kind of rolls over, or something strange. So keep an eye on that. Okay, so in fact, Josh Allen is still available. He's done me pretty well past several seasons, so I'm just going to go ahead and draft him. And I will probably draft a wide receiver next. A.J. Brown has a questionable designation. He had a hamstring injury. So I don't necessarily think I want to pick him up right away. So we're going to go and we're going to sort for expected points this season. If we click on Terry McLaurin, he's position 7. Jackson Smith and Jigba is position 9. Obviously, Mike Evans is a really good player too. I think I'll just pick up Terry McLaurin and do it that way. Kind of go off rank script a little bit. So then I've got a long time before my next pick again. And kind of the weird thing is, if you can look over here, I drafted a quarterback kind of early, and it kind of made somebody else go, well, I better draft a quarterback too. So a lot of times you get people that'll do that. Like if somebody drafts a quarterback, you might go, okay, well, I should draft a quarterback now too, so that nobody else, if people are taking quarterbacks, I need to take one too, so I can get a good one. But then you've got some, but then he grabbed a tight end as well. So we'll see how things kind of go. And so they're filling it over here. I got my quarterback, my running back, and a wide receiver. And then all of these will fill up. Obviously, if I draft 2 more running backs. The third running back will probably go into the flex, but then after the fourth running back would go into the bench spot. Doesn't really mean anything right now. We haven't really set our lineup. It just kind of gives you an idea of making sure that you have all these players, the spots filled, so you don't pick, like I said, only 8 running backs, and then you don't have any wide receivers to put in your wide receiver spots. So that is basically it for drafting. You can search by player. So if I wanted to figure out where Mahomes was, since I guess Josh Allen was already picked, but you could look for Jalen Hurts or any other quarterback you'd like. But then you can pick by team. So I don't really find a lot of reasoning behind this, but let's say that you think that the Houston Texans are going to do really well this year. I don't even know where they are. I can't math. And so you get all the players from Houston to kind of see, okay, well, Joe Mixon is out. Why? You can click on him and figure it out. So we've got, okay, he's got a foot or ankle injury, and doesn't look like he's going to be ready for week 1. So you might go, okay, who would be a backup running back? You can search by running back. So here are all the running backs currently on the roster for Houston Texans. So if you don't think Joe Mixon's going to do well, you can look over here and go, well, Nick Chubb looks like he might be the backup because they're projected that he's going to have the second number best points. So you could draft him instead of Joe Mixon if that's kind of the thinking that you'd like to go down. That's just kind of how you can use those, filters. If you want to auto pick and don't care about any of this, or maybe you start drafting and then something comes up and you need to go, right here is where you can auto pick, and that's what I'm probably going to do if I don't get done with this video by the time my next 2 picks are done. I might do these next 2 picks since they're right here, and then I'll probably auto draft. So let's do that. I'll just kind of go through the motions a little bit more. You can show all the players that have been drafted. I don't really see a whole reason as to why, unless you really think that you're trying to find a player that you can't find. You can always do that, but you can also search them. I haven't been paying attention at all. We've got a couple of tight ends that have been drafted. So let's look at our tight end to see if we think maybe, okay, Jalen Hurts just got drafted. Looking to see what our tight end situation is. We got Travis Kelce down here, Mark Andrews. Sam Laporta has a questionable designation, so let's figure out why. Okay, we don't know why. Coach didn't let us know what the injury is. So, no idea. Probably not a big deal, hopefully. If we look back at 2024, okay. I believe TJ Hawkinson had an injury. Yeah, he missed the first 7 weeks of last season. So his projected number, or his 2024 season, wasn't very good because of his issues. But if we look back, we can look at the last 5 games and see whether or not we liked those numbers. And we can decide if that's the pick we want to go with or not. I don't think I want to do a tight end right now. My whole thing is that if you're looking at the point totals, they just aren't as good as maybe some of our, let's go back to 2025 projected. 265, to the 100 or 190 or whatever it was for the tight end. So I'm actually going to, hey, why not? Again, you've got these buys, so it's good to make sure you don't pick a bye week for all the, that's the same for all your players for all of that position. So my two running backs have different bye weeks. So I need to make sure that, come week 9, I cannot play Barkley. He won't be playing. So down here in my bench, I'll need to make sure that I have a running back that I can put in on week 9 when Barkley's, and his team aren't playing. Otherwise, I'll have an empty spot and won't be able to, won't be getting points for that position. Xavier Worthy, DK Metcalf. I think I was going to probably draft a wide receiver next. So I can do that. And they really think Xavier Worthy is going to do that well? Well, so he's position rank 33. Well, he did pretty well at the end of the last season. Several games. Probably didn't play him the last game, and a lot of leagues don't actually even play. Fantasy leagues don't play the week 18 because of that. They rest all their players, so don't worry about that. 0. Then we got DK Metcalf. Let's see. How'd they both do last year? Okay, they actually did fairly decently. I've got my bye week 5 and 10. Oh, now I've only got a few left. So we're actually going to go with probably DK Metcalf. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn on my auto pick or auto draft. Again, right, so if you auto draft and then you have to run away and come back, you can always just disable it or, uncheck on, the auto pick, and then you can auto pick some more. Well, right here it says that I'm on auto. None of the other people are on auto right now, but I am. So I'm just going to come back when this is done and we can look at our lineup together.